Hello, it's me, Vera, and welcome to Stitch of Fate, a Vampire the Masquerade V5 podcast. Since we'll be portraying vampires who have left their mortal lives behind, expect that we're going to do bad things that deal with difficult themes and content meant for an adult audience. This content may include, but is not limited to, body horror, drug use, murder, gore, extreme emotional situations, and, graphic images. Remember, don't hold those actions against the players, just the characters. Take care of yourself, mortal, and take a break if you need it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Vampire the Masquerade 5th Edition podcast, Stitch of Fate. As always, I am your storyteller, Mike Martin, joined by my four players, Josh, Chelsea, Bub, I'm just going to say it, and Mark.
Perfect.
How's everybody doing? It's been a whopping 10 minutes.
It has been a whopping 10 minutes.
I'm great.
Miss you.
I know. I'm excited. So we're just gonna jump back into the game with a little scene setter of now at this point in time, the camera opens on the inside of Vera's club. The band is mostly done setting up as security guard outside. The two private security guards outside are just having light conversation with a few of those that you're expecting tonight to peruse your art show and make some rather nice purchases. We see Duke make his way downstairs with a notebook in hand and pen. And as Sean's about to make his way upstairs, he gets one step before a very strong, firm hand grasps his collar, and he gets pulled just a half a step back for a second.
Blood room, now.
Oh, God. I knew this would happen eventually. It's Vera. She was like, oh, we have so much in common.
Okay, pipe down, kid, pipe down.
As he gets dragged out of the main room, past the last of the just the petty workers finishing putting up all of the paintings and their truck about to drive off, and down into the blood room, Max and Sean go.
Whatever you do, just not the face, okay?
Okay, all right. Just calm down, will you? Sit down.
Okay.
There's like a cardboard, like a crate nearby that you
the
can
crate
pull
that
up.
the hand was chopped off
Yep,
on?
exactly.
Yeah.
Max pulls up another seat, sits down on it.
It grinds up against the concrete, and as Max plops down, the crate actually cracks a little bit underneath him.
Okay, kid. Vera wanted me to have a word with you.
A word or a word?
A word. A friendly word.
Okay.
I believe friendly but firm was how I described it. So let's get that out of the way right now, okay? I'm not mad at you. I'm looking out for you, okay?
I get that.
Okay. To put it in your vernacular, you gotta stop acting like a complete muppet.
I got to stop acting like a muppet.
Yeah, did I get that right?
Yeah.
Don't be such a jerk off, all right? Now,
I get that one. Yeah.
I know you're smarter than you let on, because you gotta be.
Is it that obvious?
Yeah, it's fairly obvious, kid. Look, I know you're just trying to do your best, okay? But you gotta pull it together a little. You know, you can't let Vera start thinking that you're some kind of liability. Vera's the boss, okay?
Vera's the boss, yeah. I appreciate that. Got any tips? Because when you walk around in a bathrobe, that's A, very funny, but also I can't do that. Vera would tell me off.
Yeah,
And
well...
I think it's got something to do with the fact that you could crush my and maybe her skull at the same time, like a sandwich.
I'm not thinking about crushing anybody's skull, least of all Vera's, okay? I owe her. She helped me out when nobody else would. She could have asked for a boon, but she didn't. And that's why she's got my loyalty, alright?
Sure, I'm loyal to you, I'm loyal to everyone here. It's just that you're all very creepy.
Yeah.
You less so. Like the bat thing notwithstanding.
Yeah. No, I see where you're coming from on the old Duke over there. Yeah, he's got a real off-putting vibe.
As you kind of mention Duke, the room across, you actually just see him very quietly walk by the door frame, looking straight ahead at nothing. He just walks.
Yeah, speak of the devil.
Duke doesn't hear any of this. He's lost
think
in
he
his
knows.
thoughts currently.
Like, where did you get him?
Look, he's got his uses, okay?
Sure.
Now
Everyone has
listen,
their use.
you just need to not be a screw-up. And most of all, you need to not be a motor-mouth. You know? Up. Less of that.
It's easier to deal with this situation, gestures widely, when I'm talking. So I will do my best, but I don't get to hide in the corner like you. So
Hey,
what
nobody
I-
puts Max in a corner.
and least of all me, you know? But
Look, kid, all I'm saying is your defense mechanism is actually a little counterproductive to your survival. So you might want to rethink it.
all right. I will you'll see me this evening and I will be the picture of good manners. You're gonna fucking love me.
Yeah, okay. Okay, kid. Good talk.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, you don't have to deal with this shit. They just ignore you.
Yeah.
When you do your magic disappearing the thing.
Yeah, story of my life.
Maybe just on that last grumbling, a couple of words, Max places his hands on his knees, pushes himself up, the crate again creaking and cracking a little bit more as he pushes his weight off. And Max actually walks off, leaving Sean. Sean, do you head back upstairs?
Sean takes a moment, brushes himself down, and then goes back upstairs.
Now the camera will stay downstairs with Max as he actually heads back out to the back and into the sewers momentarily. Recently, he had heard that the show would be getting a recipient of the clan Nosferatu, and being the curious Nos that he is, put out a little feeler, see if they can get a name or at least a code name of the person who's supposed to be representing whatever Nosferatu has interest in buying drugs for one reason or another. Now, this is a political thing. However, reaching out to just have a low-level Nos come out and try to bid information is relatively easy. And you're actually met downstairs by a meek, short little boy. Boy is just the way, you consider him somewhere between 16 and 18, just physical appearance. But the Nosferatu affliction on him as you crawl your way down, he's leaning up against a wall and he's playing on a Max wouldn't actually recognize, maybe not know what they are. For everybody out there, he's playing on a handheld video gaming device. A bright screen illuminating the dark sewers as he's kind of plucking away. And you can actually see the Nosferatu degeneracy up on his face a lot easier as that glow of the screen lightens him up. His big piece of his right jaw is just missing flesh. You can actually see his teeth lining all the way back in a sort of, as we recently actually discussed, a Joker-esque way. On the other side of his face, though, his bottom lip just kind of hangs loosely, detached all the way down to his middle. Just a slight drool and drip comes from that loose lower lip. As would Max head down quietly, or would you make yourself kind of like, would you make noise? Because Max has the ability to just kind of vanish and stay quiet.
I think he'll that is his usual custom, is to go in stealth mode as often as possible.
So he would not notice you arrive. He'd be 1 foot up against the concrete wall behind him, just playing away, hyper-focused at whatever game he's got going on.
And I assume I know his name.
You would know his name as, he calls himself Pick.
Hey there, Pick. What's the rumpus?
As soon as you say his name, he quickly jumps to, his bottom lip kind of flapping a little bit as he snaps shut the mobile gaming device and quickly slides into his pocket and looks around. Now you spoke loud enough where it would break the obfuscate and you kind of ripple into appearance in front of him or by his side. Before he looks to you, there's a visible look of relief, and he looks up and he's like, "Yeah, you looking for the name of whatever the contacts here is. So I may or may not have been able to procure such information. What do you got from me?"
Yeah. What do I got for you? Well, I'm sorry to interrupt your gaming time on your whatchamacallit, but I'm asking...
It's a Nintendo DS.
A Nintendo DS, great. Okay, well, I'm not going to remember that, so what do you got for me?
Yeah, are you clearly trying to be intimidating out of curiosity?
Yeah, I think he is actually being intimidating.
Manipulation, intimidation. With 4 intimidation, you step forward and loom over him. How dare he even ask for anything in return? This is low-level information at best, and at worst, and at best, it's worth maybe a minor boon. And he realizes very quickly how out of bounds he stepped.
Yeah, I sort of step up and I go,
"Yeah, here's a minor boon for you, me not getting angry."
Quickly again, kind of leaning back and even cowering a little bit, his knees buckling, and he tries to even take a step back, meeting only concrete wall. He just nods furiously. I don't know who she works for. I don't even know her actual name, okay? But the code name, she calls herself Stinky.
Stinky. Okay.
Yeah, and he actually kind of looks almost ashamed when he says that, and he looks down and he shakes his head. He's like, I thought it was kind of dumb.
Hey, nothing wrong with Stinky. I knew some guys in the old neighborhood named Stinky.
She's likely gonna be, and he just kind of quickly changed subject. I mean, I imagine if she's swinging up there, I'm told she's a Nosferatu herself, so, I mean, you know we have a bill. Look for somebody who looks a little too forgettable. And he kind of gives like a weird...
Yeah, nah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay. All right, Pick. You've been helpful. That makes me somewhat favorably inclined towards you. As opposed to disfavorably inclined. And that's a good place to be. That's a good place to be.
He gives a kind of a knowing nod, however, still avoiding eye contact. And he takes a moment to... I'm going to make a roll for him here to see if he keeps his mouth shut and says nothing.
Hey, you're a smart one, Pick. I can tell. I can tell by the way you're not flapping your gums right now.
He continues to nod.
All right. Now listen, I know I can come off as a bit of a hard case, but I ain't so bad. No hard feelings, huh?
No hard feelings. Okay. You got any, like, cash?
Cash?
I had to pay some people a lot of money to get that info for you, and I figured I don't know. When we didn't establish anything, we kind of went on a word of trust, but I figured maybe I might get something out of this.
Well, I reckon Vera won't mind parting with a little bit of petty cash. So, how much did this information cost you?
As you reach into your pocket and pull out hundreds banded together by a couple of rubber bands, and yeah, you kind of like lick your finger against your really thick kind of bat-like tongue, and you start counting them. The bills, some crumpled, some pristine, and his eyes kind of watch as you begin to count, and he's like, it was it's like $300.
Yeah, I heard $200. Here you go.
It was, and as you kind of like just hand him the two, he looks up and he gives it like a half beat before he just snatches out of your hand. He's like, I'm a fucking idiot.
And then he pulls the other 100 and like,
and here, buy something nice for yourself.
As he goes to turn, you actually pull out the 100. He turns around and he takes it from you and he's like, the rumors about you are mostly right, but, and he waves the other 100 and he goes, not all of them.
And listen,
He actually pulls the last 200 and says,
Okay.
And my standing order for information, let's just put that on the tab.
There's a moment where he clearly weighs the whether this is worth it or not, but it doesn't last too long as his young Nosferatu fingers reach and gently pull the 200 from you. You may write on your character sheet, Pick owes you, mechanically speaking, a minor boon.
Okay.
And you can it can simply say, or you can just write Pick running information along those lines. But when he takes those 200 from your hand, he just gives you a very quiet nod before he actually looks around and plucks a rat up from the ground. And he gives it he brings it close to his mouth, and you see him whisper to it. And as it turns around, he pulls out its back right leg, and he actually just reaches in with a long fingernail. And as it sits there and doesn't move, he actually rips the tendon from it. Blood spills a little bit as it winces and squeaks. And then he brings it back to him, and he sips a little bit of the blood before he pinches it closed, and he tries to help it. I'll reach out. Look for the one with the limp.
Thanks, Pick.
And he actually then brings the rat closer and pours it into his pocket as you see a small red puddle seep through his white t-shirt, and he turns and walks. Max makes his way back up the stairs out of the sewer with $500 lighter, but a new bit of information steady stream and a little bit of info as to who's to be arriving. And you still got about 30 minutes before the doors open for the show. So you're welcome to make your way over to Vera if that's something Max is looking to do.
Yeah, Max, he is going to prepare for the evening. He did say he was going to come loaded for bear, so rather than invisibly skulking about in a bathrobe, he's going to be wearing his standard sort of going out and doing business, which is a very ratty leather trench coat. He's also going to wear, his hoodie with the unusually large hood that accommodates his ears.
Just sinks super low, but only like to about here because the ears are so big.
Yes, and he's going to, he's also going to have a scarf, just in case by some happenstance he manages to get seen, so he's going to have like a scarf up over his face and whatnot. He'll be wearing the flak jacket beneath the leather coat, and he'll have his full complement of weapons secreted in various harnesses and pockets and whatnot.
And when the show is going on, where does Max typically hang out? Does he hang out in the back room, or does he hang out invisible on the show floor?
He's going to be invisible, and he's probably going to stick near Vera. And generally, if she needs him to do something else, she knows, the general area to whisper a direction in, and then he can attend to that. So, but he's mostly sticking. He's kind of on bodyguard duty for Vera.
Yeah, it makes total sense. So actually, Max will make his way up to Vera, not invisible yet as the doors aren't open. It's just the four of you now as the workers have all left. Having just had that meeting with Pick in the sewers, if there's anything you'd like to speak to her now, or we can push forward.
He will relay that information, just essentially.
Listen, spoke to one of my contacts. We got word on the NOS representative. She goes by Stinky.
Glorious. Vera knows she's going to have to say that word all night long when she speaks. Well, at least we know who it is, right? I look at Max. Do we know this nose? Anything about them?
No, just the name, and that it's a she.
Well, then let's see what they are interested in.
As the camera moves over, Sean eventually reaches the floor in a fantastic suit, and Vera, you would notice more than anybody else. For whatever reason or another, Sean is just beaming a little more today. Your eye is drawn to him just a little bit more often, not out of interest romantically or anything. He cleaned up. Not incredibly, and you could have done way better, but he cleaned up.
Sean!
That one dot on presence has shifted his look a little bit.
You shaved or something?
I thought I would make an effort.
Oh, well, you look dashing-ish.
The camera then moves downstairs to Duke. Now, Duke, the show is certainly not where Duke is most active when it comes to these deals. Leading up to and then post is where most of your work lies. What does Duke do during these shows?
Duke probably watches. In this case, he's admitted to people watching a fair amount. He doesn't like being caught in situations where he may be trapped. So this is one of those things where he's sort of profiling everyone that steps inside to see whom based off of a handful of identifying clues, might be the first to speak out of kind, the first to potentially draw a weapon, to passively move threats, who might look a little more on edge than normal. It's from there that he probably seeks out Max to let them know that this person is definitely off their A game and something might be up.
Would you step outside to observe them before they were allowed in?
If they're going to get through the front door, he basically wants to be able to watch them from a top-down view.
Just want to watch. Okay.
And just because we are potentially anticipating problems, Max is going to have his shotgun loaded with the Dragon's Breath shells that he has.
Okay. Fantastic. For the most part, these shows have gone off without a hitch. A couple of times there's been violent outbreaks, but they're usually kept under control. You expect something similar this time around to go smoothly. You've adjusted as well. Instead of having everybody in the room all at once, it shifts one at a time. One walks in with his bodyguard, they look at the paintings, they make their purchase or bid, and then they leave. And that keeps all the crime lords out of a very central location and all egos in check, as you've been doing this for some time now. And as the time rolls on, and those front doors finally swing open and the night lights from the outside road spill in and illuminate it a little bit unpleasantly, the first one allowed in is Tommy the Mouse, one of the higher-end bosses of the Italian mafia here in New York City. He's been here almost every time you've had one, only having missed the very first show that you put on, has been a regular guest ever since. His drug of choice is cocaine. And he walks in with two bodyguards, quiet, bald men, and he looks to you, Vera. He has a big smile on his face, a clean-kept goatee, and slicked-back black hair. His fingers are loaded with golden rings, and his suit is impeccably well-fitted. His fashion taste is something that Vera truly appreciates. And as he walks in, he smiles widely, he throws his arms out to you, and as the doors open, before he walks in fully, he shouts over the shoulder, "Hey, you can go fuck yourself." And he walks into you and he's like, "My beautiful Vera."
Tommy.
And he walks over to, I know you're not you're a touch, don't look.
I would put a hand
look, don't touch,
out
rather.
and maybe curtsy or something like, leaving distance, no hugging.
As you give an elegant curtsy and place your hand out, he takes just the tips of your fingers, brings them close, and he gives them the knuckles a very gentle kiss, and he places your hand back. And as he kind of takes you all in, and then looks around to realize there's only Sean nearby. Max can't be seen, and he doesn't look up. So Duke is, as the camera's kind of sitting low and behind, we can see just an out of focus figure on the third floor mezzanine that just looms quietly in the darkness. You truly have to look for it to see it, but it's there.
Let me guess, Tommy, you're here for an oil painting.
He smiles. I do enjoy going skiing.
Come, let me show you what we have in stock.
And all the while, he has incredibly pleasant conversation. He just hits on you constantly. This is who he is. You don't even take it personally at this point. Perhaps early on when you first met him, it was annoying, frustrating. Offensive isn't the word. You might want to kill him though, because he's kind and he's worthless. But at this point, you've realized this is what his excuse for charm. He has a forced charisma, but it's that constant, overbearing ego that those who are meek or around him simply fall into line. But there's respect and perhaps even an attraction to Vera because you never, ever have budged. Even early on, Tommy the Mouse tried to make very hard deals with you that were very much in his favor. But somehow when he walked out, they were in yours instead. He's grown to like you quite a bit. And as you walk him over to the nearest oil painting, he simply gestures to and he's like, "All right, give me the lowdown. How much is this beauty?" And he actually pulls out the paper, little laminated art menu, more or less, from his back pocket, and he just kind of holds it out front. And he just kind of looks at it, looks to you, but very much expects you to sell him on it.
Well, our stock has become higher quality and prices have evolved.
He's like, "Oh, I wasn't going to say it, but that's a whole 10% hike."
Yes, well, a girl has to eat.
10%'s a lot of money when we're talking about, and he kind of gestures, high quality artistes.
Yes, well, when has this high quality artiste ever not delivered?
He kind of just waves the menu at you and gives you a nod. Fair point, fair point.
We have 3 to choose from. And I kind of gesture.
And I imagine each one is a different amount.
Yes,
more or less.
exactly.
Now, you know me. Normally I go smaller, the cheaper, or somewhere in the middle. But I'm feeling generous today, my dear beautiful lady. And the larger painting screams to me. Now, you know me. I don't go out of my way to buy such expensive, extraordinary things. And 125 grand. And as he kind of looks down, looks back up, bit of a high asking price. But his eyes roll. He raises his eyebrow. I could drop you 110 in cash tonight.
And the other 15?
Oh, I'm sorry. Perhaps you misunderstood. I'm saying I could give you everything up front instead of staggered. And we knock off a little bit of the surface cash. You know what
I'm
I'm saying?
sorry, I don't think you understand. This is the price. What can I do to, say, sweeten the pot?
I was just thinking I'm a regular customer, you know? Maybe you go in a little, move in a little bit, help. You know what? I apologize. I'll take the middle one.
Tommy.
He looks over to you as he's pocketing the menu.
How many times have you come to one of these events?
Oh, by my count now, you've been running these things for 5 years. You know, this would be like the 11th event. I've probably been to about 8 or 9 of them.
You are my best customer. And
I'm
by
flattered.
far the most charming.
You may make me a charisma persuasion check.
Great! I don't have
You
all
have any specialties that would add a +1?
Well, I have the 4 dots in looks. So if that's going to help at all, I can add 2
It
die to
depends
that.
on how you're trying to... If you're using your looks as a way to schmooze him.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
imagine that is what... I mean, that's what Vera does, right?
Yeah. Then why don't you go ahead and give me a... Instead of a charisma persuasion, give me a looks persuasion. Roll me a persuasion plus your looks.
Oh, okay, charisma would be higher.
Oh, then go with charisma. And add a +1 for having 4 looks then. With 4 successes. And what was the question? I apologize. What was the words that fell out of your mouth?
I just simply mentioned that he would have
He's
to
the
pay
best
full
customer.
price, and I told him that he has always been my best customer, and asked if I could sweeten the deal.
I don't know how you could sweeten the deal. You know what? Okay. I'll do you a favor. No, you're doing me a favor, let's be real, Miss Vera. And he looks to you and smiles. I'll go in, I'll pay full price. In fact, I'll take it. And I'll pay 10% extra. If you do me a favor.
Well, that depends.
His eyes graze over to the other set of paintings, ones that represent heroin. And he slowly strides over to the smaller one. He kind of traces it around. He's like, it's a beautiful painting, ain't it?
Some would say.
The painting itself is actually of a very simple brook with a bridge and a couple walking over it with the lady having a sun umbrella. I don't know. I just don't think it would belong in the house of one of them damn Russians. I don't think it would look good. Wouldn't fit the aesthetic.
I wouldn't know.
One of my companions, business partners, has great interest in this stuff, but he can't make his way here for a couple of days. Put it on hold. That 10%, consider it a holder's fee. And you don't sell shit to the Russians outside tonight.
I'm sorry. You want me to deny my patrons a chance to come and purchase?
Only because you're going to make a little extra and that shit's going to be sold anyway. You ain't losing any money.
Tommy. I gesture to what is probably a $3,000, like, black vinyl suit. Do you think that the extra is what I need? Good business is good business, and if you think that I got where I am by allowing my patrons to deny other patrons a chance for inventory, well, your friend, I am more than happy to add him to my roster. How about I make you a deal?
All is.
You've been here a handful of times, and every time you flatter me with your words.
I'm only speaking my truth. And he gives you a wink.
As I appreciate. But I have never given you the joy of a dance.
I didn't think you did that.
I don't. Thus, the pricelessness of it. A private dance with Vera.
Of Club Succubus.
And I put a hand out to take his. We've got a live band.
The music is playing in the background, and he actually goes from like looking at the ceiling thinking, and as his eyes trail down to your open palm. And there's a moment where you see him really tempted. His fingers kind of twitch, and he really wants to take it. Then he looks up. On a night that wasn't business, maybe. My counteroffer. Let me stay in here and bid against the Russian. Fair and square. I'll pony up the cash, and the one who wants it, he'll have to pay me a little bit of a finder's fee, but hey.
I cannot deny them a chance to come in and buy, and I cannot stop you from, say, outbidding them. That is fair business.
I'll take that dance still, though.
I bet you would. Since you've underestimated the value of my dance, I'll give you the original painting at $120 instead of $125. But you've given up the chance for a dance.
He kind of gives a disappointed shrug, an understanding nod. That's the price of good business, I guess.
Some would say.
Large one sold. I'll stay here when the Russian comes in, and we'll bid. We'll see who has deeper pockets. I have a feeling it's gonna be me.
Yes, well, you know where you can wait, and I gesture to the mezzanine because that's...
He actually looks up, and the camera will follow his gaze up, and as it looks up, the blur comes into focus as we see the figure in a plain white button-down shirt and slacks just looming over, watching quietly. Vera, you not caught by surprise, but it's always uncomfortable.
I make eyes to Duke nonetheless, like, we should watch this one. And as he walks away, I simply whisper over my shoulder, very, very quietly. He's going to be a problem tonight. Just so Max can hear it.
Yeah, of course. You're whispering out to Max. And as you're whispering, he walks away with his two guards, making their way up the spiral staircase all the way to the third floor, where there's a couch and a setup behind Max. Not Max, Duke, that they make their way over to. Him and his bodyguards just kind of plop down, one on each side of him, and he stays to himself, quiet, pulls out a smartphone and starts scrolling and going through mindlessly. Does Duke say anything?
Nope. Duke keeps to himself.
Max will lean in to Vera and just say, "So what's the play? You want me with you? You want me on him?"
I don't know. He is desperately interested in assuring that the Russians don't get their hands on their usual buy, which no doubt is going to cause problems. The unfortunate thing is, I believe, Tommy, his pockets are deep.
Okay, I'll keep an eye on him, but I'm going to stick close to you.
Thank you. I'd appreciate it. And I gesture for the door to let the next round in.
And the person who's standing at the door opens the door. And first, in walks a young, not a young, but like a meek-looking girl. She's dressed extremely plainly. She's got long brown hair, brown eyes, and the dress that she wears is kind of an off-white with no notable design. She walks in and simply kind of gazes around at the paintings, smiles at you, Vera, and then quietly just begins to browse.
I'm guessing this is our new clientele?
It's a good guess.
All right.
You're not sure.
I guess
she does not look like a Nos in any way.
Okay, well, then I will stroll over.
Mm-hmm.
Would you describe her as very average in appearance?
I would describe her as incredibly average in appearance.
Okay.
You walk over, she actually looks to you and smiles.
Good evening, I'm Vera.
She nods.
I would say...
Could I look by myself?
Of course.
Thanks. And then she goes back to looking.
Do I note any particular odor?
Give me a wits awareness from the both of you as you both approach.
Okay.
Wits awareness, eh?
Yes,
Not
sir.
my forte, but, well, kind of. Oh,
Wow, messy critical.
a messy critical. It must be that real stanky stank.
Yep. With a messy critical, you just likely won't be able to can hold back. You're just like, that's rank.
Bad.
Yeah. Wait for us. Yep. And with Max, you also pick up. It doesn't hit you in such a guttural way as it hits Vera. But as you get close and begin to speak, and she kind of cuts you off, and you kind of compose yourself and take a sniff, like reflexively. And the smell of what smells like a kind of sweet, a sickeningly sweet smell pierces your nose. That if you were mortal, might make you nauseous. It's subtle though, and you had to get pretty close.
So a whisper in Vera's ear, like, stinky.
Very much so. I'm going to give her some space. Enjoy. Your browsing.
And Vera walks away from her as she continues to gaze at the paintings, maybe asking for the next ones to be let in, unless you want to wait for her. But it'll become very clear after some time she has no interest in making a hurried buy. Everybody else who comes in typically knows what they want. She is taking her time.
I go over to Sean.
Where is Sean?
Sean is doing his best to not cause any problems and standing probably on the floor the paintings are. That's on the bottom floor.
Bottom
right?
floor. Yep.
Correct,
You're just in
yeah.
the middle of the show, basically.
Yeah, he's standing at one side.
Okay.
Just keeping a weather eye out.
I think as everybody's browsing, like if we've let more in and we're letting everybody shop,
That's up to you if you want to let another one in. It's just
There's
her
a
right
stinky girl in my club. Probably not. Before I leave to go join Sean, I'll just say to Max, I guess to dead air then, like empty air, I just say,
now. Yeah, of course.
she may take more of a liking to you. I know you don't usually work with the clientele, but
You want me to have a word?
I would like her to speed up her browsing.
Fair enough.
Max is going to slide over to where who we think is Stinky is.
She's moved over to just the second painting and she's gazing at it openly.
Yeah, tick-tock, tick-tock.
Do you do it loud enough to break your obfuscate?
No.
Okay. She jumps and quickly her eyes dart around. Hello? And then she kind of looks back at the painting. How long does Max wait?
Gives it like another 30 seconds.
30 seconds pass and she just goes back to browsing.
Yeah, this ain't a lending library.
Okay. What? I didn't know I was going to be rushed. No one said there was a time limit.
Yeah, well, there is.
That would have been nice to know.
Okay, you know now.
Are you going to really rush me?
Yeah, maybe just pick up the pace a bit. Come on, huh? I'm not trying to bust your balls here. Just doing my job.
Do I get the pleasure of know who's rushing me out of here?
You can call me Max, Stinky.
Wits awareness when you say that. 3 successes on your wits awareness check. It's obvious when you say your name, as you say, my name, you can call me Max Stinky. She actually, her eyes kind of pop open for just a minute before kind of going back to normal. And then she gives you a hurried nod. Okay, yeah, I'll hurry up. And she walks around the whole club half-assedly, pretending that she's looking at things before she walks over to Vera after having talked to Sean, which we'll rewind to in a minute. And she says, thank you for your time. There you have quite the selection. Thanks. And she,
Did you find something you liked?
They're all beautiful.
Is that why you came? To see the paintings?
Oh, it's not for me. It's on behalf of another.
I see. You do business for them.
Yes.
Will I get the pleasure of meeting this person?
If they have interest in what you have.
Do they?
I think so.
How about this, Stinky? I am more than happy to help whoever it is gain whatever it is they want. And if this setting does not suit your needs, I will accommodate.
Thank you. I'll let them know. I was very impressed with your collection. I didn't, and she just kind of gives you a very puppy-eyed look.
There's no need to be afraid, child.
Of course, I'm not afraid. Thank you.
Of course, Stinky. Until next time, I hope.
And she nods, and as she turns to walk away, and as she's about to make her way to the front door, she actually stops short, and she looks back, and she just kind of speaks out into the air. Bye, Max. Then she smiles a little bit, and she kind of walks out the front door.
Now see, Sean, I'm not a ball buster. I'm nice, occasionally, when it comes to business and money.
Yeah, well, I mean, you sort of got Max to do that for you on this one.
Yes, well, sometimes others will have better words than, say, I would.
Seems to have worked.
Now, you wanted to have words with Sean, Vera.
I wanted to introduce him along the way to all of these, to specific buyers, our usual, the Russians.
Do you want to bring him upstairs to meet Tommy the
Sure.
Mouse?
Sure.
Okay. Dukes, they make their way upstairs. You watch as Vera brings Sean upstairs, and as Vera comes into view, Tommy quickly stands up and makes his way over. So, is it bidding time then? And he smiles, completely ignoring Sean near you.
Tommy, I have someone I'd like you to meet. Consider him my protege.
Oh, big words and a lot of promise. And as he says that, he walks over to you and he reaches out for a handshake.
Oh yeah, Sean gives him a big, strong handshake and
Your
just, like,
meek little,
flops
your
up and
like
down.
bony, your bony little
Yeah.
hand reaches out, and his hand is huge, and he just grasps it, and he gives one of those unnecessarily aggressive, tight handshakes, ones that are there simply to, for one reason or another, show whose dick is bigger and who's in charge. And he grips it really tightly and gives you a couple really hard shakes before he lets it go. If she's telling you you're her protege, them some big dresses to fill, pretty boy.
Well,
I ain't seen you walking in high heels either. Though I don't know. And he looks back to one of his guards. Think he might look pretty good in them.
Tommy.
you have no idea how good I'd look.
He actually when you actually retort with that, he gives a belly laugh, and you see him relax as it kind of just the mean jokes roll off of Sean's back, and he just kind of claps you on the side of the shoulder. I can see why Vera keeps you around already. Well, good to meet you, Sean. Protege, one owner of this club at some point, and he kind of gives you a questionable look, Vera.
Only if he wants it.
He purses his lips.
You're learning about this is about the same time I am, Tommy. So, this is good news.
His jokes again. Aren't they funny?
He goes to laugh, but gives a kind of confused look. Maybe it's the millennial humor or something.
Well, Tommy, I'm glad you like Sean. He is knowledgeable on our products.
Oh yeah. That's my fault.
See, that's the mistake of as he kind of waves around, and it's the reason I keep coming back here. Vera, she got the finger on the pulse, man. You know, I'll be honest with you. Looking you up and down, you don't look like you're worth jack shit, and I could blow you over in a stiff breeze, and you might break. No value to you on the surface, but see, that's why Vera's good at what she does.
Still waters, Tommy. Still waters. We've got product for days. So we keep each other happy, then I see the long and fruitful future together that you are clearly sizing me up for when you imagine me in high heels.
Vera cringes.
There's a moment where I, as a storyteller, debated a role, but that last line was just too good. And as he's clearly taking this in and like wondering if you're trying to size him up, when you throw it, you just disarm him completely with that last joke at your own expense. And he just belly laughs again. I don't know where you find your people, Vera, but damn, you're good.
They're drawn to me, Tommy.
Is it time? And he kind of gets back to the business at hand, and an eager look crawls across his face.
Yes, we are going to let the Russians in. Do me and Sean a favor and wait your turn.
I follow your rules, my lady. And he
So
gives a
you
very
say.
sarcastic bow.
Bring in the Russians.
Yeah, as you make a motion over and the doors open, Vlad and 3 of his bodyguards pile in. And as he looks up as Vera walks down, and he very clearly lets his eyes linger as Tommy looks at him through the balcony, and he looks up at him, but eventually his eyes turn to you. His composure is incredibly stoic. He simply walks up to you and reaches out for your hand. Doesn't say a word.
He's Russian. Of course he doesn't. I put a hand out. I say nothing.
He reaches up and just gives it a gentle kiss like all do when they enter. Vera, good to see you.
Yes. What is his name? Vladimir?
Vlad. Product, please.
I gesture to the floor.
You make your way. He walks, he follows you over. You know his typical buy, and you bring him over. The amount that you sell is different depending on what obviously Sean can get you for that show. So he kind of quickly goes over the menu, and he gestures to the medium one for the heroin.
I make sure to speak in Russian so
Sure.
that Tommy cannot understand. I imagine Vera's fluent in it.
Yeah.
And she
I'll
said,
take the middle one as always, Vera.
you know, we go by the price tag.
Of course. Money will be paid.
Wonderful.
Are we done?
Yes.
He smiles and he gives a nod to his bodyguards, and they make their way to the front door as one of them kind of pulls out a wad of cash, starts counting some things out, slaps it into the palm of your hand, nonchalant, and they leave. As they're walking out the front door, Tommy over the balcony, Duke, you see him, he leans over and he's like, hey, what the fuck? What the fuck's going on? And Vlad simply looks over and then just walks. The doors open, and Tommy just makes a motion for his bodyguards, and he begins to hurry down the spiral staircase. You fucking trying to fuck me over, Vera? And he makes his way down.
Last time I checked, you wanted the small painting.
I wanted to bid again. God damn, go! And he actually makes a motion. His bodyguards actually pull pistols at the back of their pants, and they make their way for the front door. He follows.
Duke will step in at this point.
Max as well is downstairs at this time as well. Sean, maybe the only one that might not step in, but we'll see. Max will be the first one who will have an opportunity here as initiative's kind of weird. Everybody just tell me so the way B5 initiative works for those who are listeners, because we're about to jump into some confrontation, everybody just describes what they want to do on their turn, and then depending on if it's melee, if it's ranged, if you're engaged, certain people will go first, with engaged going first, then ranged, then melee, I believe is the order, in case there's fighting. Josh, please, if I got the order wrong there.
That's pretty much it.
Okay, cool. So Max, starting with Max though. Max, what are you looking to do here as he makes a motion for his bodyguards to go out and try and catch the Russian?
So the 2 bodyguards are moving together, yes?
Yes, they're moving together, making their way across the main floor to the front door. They're not even halfway across the main floor though.
Basically, as soon as he sees them moving, Max is going to peel off to intercept them, and he, before he even draws any weapons or anything, he's just going to, now, could he trip someone without breaking his obfuscate?
I want to say I don't think so, but let me double check the rule, because obfuscate is very specific.
He's essentially going to do the thing of like sticking his foot out in front of them.
Right.
You know, the old-fashioned trip. So they're essentially walking into his foot.
What should I say? Are you using Unseen Passage or are you using Cloak of Shadows? How are you?
Unseen Passage.
Unseen Passage? Okay.
And actually, just so that there's no actual physical contact with me, the way he trips them is actually like just sort of pushing a chair out in front of them.
Oh, okay. Then that should not break it.
Great. So
yeah, you could easily make your way around, intercept them, and what you want to do is like a chair. You said just kind of like pick a chair out in front of 1 or 2 of them and try and knock them out, or do you want something bigger? Because you are a Nosferatu who's very strong. You could push a couch if you wanted to.
Again, I want something that's not going to be too obvious. So basically, I'm looking to like the one in front, put a chair in his way, so in a way that he will basically trip them both up.
Absolutely. You don't have to make a roll. He will make a dexterity athletics roll as the chair slides out from basically the side as he wasn't prepared for, trying to stop himself short. before he'll end up toppling over. However, he's going to get a penalty because this is coming as a surprise. And with one success, it's not enough to stop him from stumbling over the chair for basically a round, causing him to be prone as he quickly his knees hit it and he tumbles face over ass and lands on his backside before he's like, oh, fuck. But the other one starts going. The second one continues to go. We'll go to Duke. Duke had something he wanted to do as well.
If I am close enough to Tommy and I can get his attention, I would...
Tommy, he's not running for the door like his bodyguards are, but he is on the main floor with Vera.
I think I'd like to move up sort of behind Tommy, and utilizing Daunt, I just want to move up closest to him, sort of lean in to explain,
Yep.
Tell your men to stop.
So we actually watch as Tommy the Mouse and his bodyguards run down the spiral staircase, his bodyguards rushing ahead and one getting tripped over a chair as he hits the ground hard and the other one keeps sprinting rather. However, in the background during all of that, we watch a blurred figure very quietly and slowly descend the spiral staircase and approach Tommy the Mouse from behind before he stops, looming over him by about 5 inches. A low voice is emitted while you immediately activate Daunt. Everybody in the area, can you please roll me a resolve composure check? There's an instant eerie silence that begins to eke over all of those who are in this area, in the main room. The one making his way for the front door continues to plod forward. However, the one on the ground, who's actually still within range of this, make a roll there. I apologize, I forgot about him. With one success, he fails. He quickly realizes as he's kind of picking himself up, his eyes turn and he actually sees Duke looming behind Tommy the Mouse, and he wants to say something, but instead he kind of kicks his feet back, quickly pushing himself and scooting his ass up against the wooden floor before he pushes himself up to his feet, and also makes his way for the front door, but he leaves his pistol on the ground completely in the instant fear and is just trying to leave. For the other kindred in this room, Sean, Vera, and Max, you felt this before. It only happens occasionally, only when Duke seems to get riled up about something. There's a chill in the air. You would swear goosebumps would crawl up your skin if you weren't dead and were unable to do so. But it's almost like the band themselves stop playing entirely when he speaks those words. You don't hear the sentence, you just hear the band break. What music? Because they've played through brawls before. This is the same band you've used every time. They're paid under the table, they understand what's going on, they keep shit to themselves. But in this moment, when Duke arrives, the music cuts. Tommy the Mouse looks up over his shoulder, surprised to see you there. And he's like, I'm getting ripped the fuck off by your boss. How about you step away?
I'd like to
Now
intimidate
you may
him.
make me, you may make me now. Your manipulation, intimidation.
Mm-hmm. I have a proficiency in coercion for intimidation.
Then you may add a +1.
3 successes. There's no need to be hasty. You should calm down and think this through. It's important to maintain this relationship that you have with the Succubus Club.
Your voice can't be heard by anyone other than him. It's not a whisper, but that low, gravelly rumble is still audible. You don't watch as his eyes dilate and fear comes over his face. He's too well practiced in this job to show fear that easily, even if you're attempting to supernaturally sway him. He's a crime boss. He's got a decent will to him. However, you do watch as a bead of sweat on his relatively clean face begins to slowly drip down his left temple as he reaches up, pulls his handkerchief out of his pocket, and just gives himself a dab before tucking it back in. We ain't looking to start shit, all right? And you hear him give a sharp whistle as he looks over his shoulder. The one that had his pistol drawn stops short, but the one that was afraid barrels out the front door, leaving completely as the door swings open. You can see a couple others, the businessmen that are waiting their turn, and it clatters shut. He looks back to you. Yeah, the other one left his weapon behind, all right?
We respect your business, Tommy. We would hate to see it falter here on this day. Whatever you have against Mr. Vladimir, that's entirely for you. And then, This is a separate place entirely. Now, moving forward, you'll want to be definite and speak with clarity when speaking with Miss Vera.
I was.
Vera.
Duke speaks your name for the first time. You've been watching this interaction. All of you have been just quietly, intensely watching this interaction. But Duke finally, whatever the conversation he has, peers over him, looks to Vera and speaks your name.
Thomas seems to be rather miffed.
He actually turns and faces you as well.
With understanding, and I've expressed that he needs to compose himself and discuss this like adults.
You should have accepted the dance, Tommy.
I ain't here to dance, Vera.
No, you're here to start a gang war in my club.
I'm here to make sure that my business prospers over others. And he kind of just gives a nonchalant shrug.
Yes, but in that, my business suffers.
I don't see how it suffers. If I'm giving you the same amount of money he was going to be giving you.
You see, Tommy, you made a point earlier. An important one. I choose my friends wisely. I gestured to his one bodyguard.
Yeah, one of them.
You, on the other hand, clearly do not.
Yeah.
After 11 business tete-a-tetes, you decide that it is okay to pull guns in my club because things did not go as you wanted.
I thought I made what I wanted for our deal clear and you went back on it.
You wanted to outbid the Russian on this small painting. His interest lied in the medium one. Our deal was made. So, since I knocked $5,000 off of the painting you did buy, we'll consider that payment for your life tonight. You underestimate me and us.
I liked our relationship, Vera. It's a shame. And he actually just kind of puts his hands in his pocket as he walks over to his bodyguard.
No, he doesn't walk past her.
Sure. What do you do to stop him?
She's going to stop him. She's actually going to make a grab for his throat. She's going to make a melee attack.
Okay. Dex, strength brawl. You're going to grapple.
Max is positioned basically right behind.
Yes, right behind Vera.
No, right behind the bodyguard. He's moved to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because he'd already moved off to intercept them, so he's basically just sort of stepping in right next to the bodyguard.
Okay. He has no idea that you're there.
You know what? She needs to make a melee attack because she does not grapple.
Okay.
So she's going to pull a knife, which was daftly hidden, no doubt.
What is it you want to do with the knife?
I want to stop him. Knife to throat.
You want to put it to his throat more or less. As he goes to walk by you, where does this knife slide from? And you may make me a dexterity athletics check to slide this deftly to his throat. I
imagine if it's going to be an athletics dexterity,
you're not going to actually attack. You're just going to
right. As he goes to walk by, she wraps a rather long, spindly leg around him, cuts him off, and ends up behind him with a knife to his throat, and she simply whispers in his ear. So she'll make the roll. You said athletics dexterity. I'm gonna make sure Cat's Grace is on for this one.
Okay.
I don't think we have to go fleetness yet, but okay. I'm just not rolling well today. I'm gonna willpower that.
Okay. You may roll 3.
It to spend.
So with a pool of 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, you rolled 2 successes.
So we'll roll another 3 just to be on the safe side.
With an additional success, making it 3. With 3, you very simply slide behind him. The dagger slides out from one of your longer sleeves, and you place the knife up against his throat, presumably?
Yes. Tommy. You're not welcome here anymore.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to be coming back.
Shut your mouth. Our business is done. This will be the last painting that you get to buy. For in your greed, you have ended our relationship. Instead, I'll assure that the Russians get to buy your portion next time. See how that works? I told you we only do good business here. And since you brought in your bad antics, you will pay. My man Max is going to hunt down your bodyguard who's running the streets. He's no longer your bodyguard.
You're making a mistake, Vera.
I don't make mistakes. You know that, Tommy.
You know this ain't gonna just be a solitary incident. Shit rolls uphill.
Of course it does. But the fact of the matter is I don't have to deal with your arrogant face anymore. If your boss or your friend wants to do proper business, they can come see me personally. You, on the other hand, well, I'm rolling you downhill.
He doesn't respond to that at this point. The knife's still very firmly pressed against his neck. One slight mismove and blood would be drawn.
What's the bodyguard doing?
Standing there, watching his boss, pistol still in his hand, but not pointed at him. Does Vera after let him go, or does she hold it there for a while?
She holds it there just long enough to whisper one more time. Like I said.
As you begin to whisper, Max, you'll watch as he kind of, realizing it's going on for a while, the gun quickly gets raised after a bit.
As he's going to I'm behind him, so he won't see me decloak. And I am covered up. So basically,
you got your hood, scarf.
I decloak and immediately full Nelson, or something that'll keep his gun from being pointed correctly. Hopefully, make him
strength brawl, please.
Strength brawl. Okay.
Oh, this is the scary roll. Poor dude. You're rolling against a difficulty of 1 because technically you're catching him as a surprise round. So you rolled 2. That's all you need. And with 2 successes, you quickly, in Vera, you can watch as he kind of ripples from out of nowhere with the arm going up under his, the arm that has the gun trained and the other one around to get him, like you said, in kind of a full Nelson. And as he locks him up, he's brought up to his tippy toes. The pistol loosens from his bent back wrist and clatters to the wooden ground. And he's kind of lifted. Oh!
Hey, not so fast, greaseball.
Yes. And then Tommy simply looks back up to you, and he kind of brings his hands up like, I've got no weapons.
Can Sean step forward?
Sean can do whatever he wants.
Can I do some sort of roll to guess what the likelihood of events would be if the Russians end up with the Tommy's portion of the drugs to run?
The best you could roll would be I would say an intelligence politics or intelligence streetwise, rather. Streetwise. Sorry. I meant streetwise, not politics.
That's good, because Sean knows the streets.
You're not quite sure why they would want to cut their drug flow, but we'll see what your role is and what you come up to.
Yeah.
It could be literally as simple as they want their cut of the profits. Maybe the heroin market's going up and they want more money.
Yeah. Can I re-roll that?
You can re-roll 3 of them with a willpower.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
How many willpower have you used now?
2.
With 3 successes?
That's a bit better.
And in the specifically, Sean's just thinking, what would happen if the...
Yeah, what would happen if Tommy ended up with no drugs?
Oh, Tommy ended up with no drugs? Likely violence in some fashion.
Yeah. Okay.
May not be here, might not even be against you, but he would want to get his drugs from somewhere. That's Tommy, as far as you know, is probably just like a cocaine boss of some sort.
Yeah, fair enough. Excuse me, Tommy.
He's got a knife to his neck. He's not moving. And the security guard is all being dangled by a large bodyguard that came out of nowhere and is being choked. You can actually feel one of the tears as he's choked hit your arm.
I'm just connecting some dots here, so help me work through it. You end up with no drugs. Hypothetically, you're going to go get them from someone else. And that means that your bodyguards, who are shit, just points to them and at the door, they're going to have to try and shake down Russians, Yakuza, whoever, which will cause you a lot of problems and draw a lot of attention. We provide a lot of anonymity here. So how about we let this all flow under the bridge and you get your painting and business resumes.
Would you like to do anything else? That would be
I'm gonna turn on awe.
Thank you. Yeah. And it's actually interesting for you to turn on awe because when you use it, it leaves your system until you drink again. You feel it running through your veins. And when you have a power sitting within your vitae as a thin blood, it's energizing feeling. Your blood is thicker in both the physical and metaphorical sense. A lot of kindred, when they talk about how thick their blood runs, they specifically speaking of their power and how long they've been around. And as you unleash awe and feel it ripple through the air and almost circumvent Daunt completely, and that become the dominant aura, you almost feel, Vera, you watch as Sean stands straighter. He composes himself, and there's a twinkle in his eye. The way he says his words doesn't have that slur to it, that drugged slur like it always has. He's sharp, he enunciates, proper pronunciation on everything, and he uses big words sometimes. It's very, very strange to hear him negotiate. Meanwhile, you may make me a manipulation persuasion with the benefit of, one dot of awe?
Yeah, it's only one. And
So
I
an
think
extra
while
plus
he's
one.
doing it, he's channeling the emotions of the
course.
person he drained this from,
Of
which
course.
is a slight euphoria, like a heightened sense, mostly from
You're
drugs,
appealing
but
to
that's,
his more kinder side.
persuasion, right?
You a total of 4 successes, which is actually very, very good, especially against a kind. And what is it that you exactly, I got caught up in the rules there, what is exactly you're offering him?
I'm offering him the opportunity to not lose a lot of people and draw attention to him
By
in
doing
obtaining
what?
drugs
By buying,
somewhere else.
By not obtaining drugs somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm telling him, don't get them anywhere else. Get them here. Save yourself a lot of trouble.
Now, does Vera go along with that? Because she more or less pulled the deal out from under him after he talked back. But here is Sean taking a bit of
She wants to see what Sean is going to do.
Well, if you kind of wait after you let him say all of that, Tommy Tommy just looking at Sean and not able to look back at Vera. Like I said, Vera picks him out real damn good.
I can't tell Vera what to do, but occasionally I have suggestions.
Let me put it this way, kid. If Vera says no, you got a spot on my crew.
Oh, I like that offer. That's very kind of you.
That silver tongue.
Yeah. Oh, well, cheers, mate. I'm comfy here, but definitely future business.
What does Vera say?
Vera gives Sean that look like, are you really in a job interview right now? But she goes back to the man she's holding at knife point. She spins him around, removes the knife from his neck.
Spins up and the dagger slides away in that spin, no longer holding it when he faces you.
And I grab him by the kind of jowls and tip his head to the side. And I look over his shoulder to Sean. A kiss. Since it looks like we're going to continue to do business. And I feed from him.
Oh, you openly feed from him.
I do. His
Excellent.
bodyguard
How
is
hungry are
being
you?
held 3.
So you're going to take down to 2? He's going to be very unconscious for a while. He's going to be in a rough shape.
Great. That's what she wants. She needed to feed.
As she says that and you watch her bare her fangs before he even knows what's happening, as he's not really paying too much attention. She clearly moves in a very seductive manner. The amount of skin she shows on her arm, the way she graces the side of his cheek. And as she brings him in, just cocks his head to the side, clamps down on his neck, and you watch a bit of blood trickle out from the corner of her lip as his eyes roll in the back of his head and his tenseness collapses. there's a bodyguard watching.
Duke's gonna move to Max in the guard.
Yep. Max. He can see this. This is a masquerade breach. You know it is.
I nod to Max, and I use compel.
Okay. Do you need to rouse check for compel?
I do not. It's free.
Okay.
Excuse me, sir. I need you to look at me. Look me right in the eyes.
He's like fighting. As soon as you ask that, and you're able to catch his eyes with the watered tears, as soon as he locks your eyes, he like stops fighting. His arms freeze on the arm, and he's completely entranced looking at you.
You're going to forget this scene, everything that's happened. Here's the rouse.
No hunger gain.
Everything happened so fast. Thomas seemed to act out of kind, and you were just doing your job. You drew your weapon, and, well, things got warm. We prevented you from firing, and when you glanced over, Tommy was dancing with Vera before he fell, hit his head, and blacked out. We provided you with drinks so as to compensate you for your time, but you would be ushering Tommy home on this night.
As you finish that sentence, his hands just simply kind of slowly drop as he's just blankly staring. Duke, and as Max lets him go, he kind of lands on his feet. He blinks a couple times.
Oh, hey there, fella. Looks like you fell.
Okay.
Oh my.
I gotta go see to the other one.
I'll help here.
Max leaves.
You got this in hand? Good.
Let me get you a drink, guy. Looks like you could use one.
Now,
And Duke shows him hospitality.
now, question, just to clarify, Vera did say to eliminate the other bodyguard, yes?
Yes, she said he could only have one tonight.
Okay, there you go. So that is what Max is doing. He's obviously obfuscating as he goes.
Yep.
And he'll be...
May make me please I would like a wits streetwise check as you looking to track this man down.
Wits streetwise, you bet.
You're mostly looking for people who might look disturbed, or maybe even somebody talking about some crazed dude running by. You're not looking for a high difficulty either. It's a very simple check.
And it's wits, you said, yes?
Yes, sir. As you won't be talking to anybody, so there's no need for charisma. And with 2, after a little bit of wandering in the general like wandering out in the block that has your club on it, and just listening for conversations, eventually you pick up a conversation of like, yeah, can you believe that guy fucking brushed past, knocked my phone out of my hand and you follow that trail. Not too long, maybe 3 blocks down. He's no longer running. Instead, he's kind of slowed down to a jog. Still on the sidewalk, his coat is off and over his shoulder, and he continually, it seems like he's paranoid and looking over his shoulder behind where he comes. Not seeing you by any stretches, you're completely invisible, but he's there. Very obvious.
I'm basically going to overtake him, ducking into an alley ahead of him so that I basically can noink him off the street when he walks by.
We see Max quickly dip into an alley by his right and sprint well, we don't see him, but the camera follows an invisible figure into an alley to the right, and it hurriedly goes along ahead, and the camera turns left, we see him blurring by, Max getting ahead of him in a nearby alley. And when he passes, your plan is to just grab and pull?
Yep.
Okay, strength brawl. And actually, first, can you make me a dex stealth? Dex stealth first, and then a strength brawl.
Dex stealth, okay.
Because there are civilians around. And you are invisible, but you're going to do something that's going to make you uninvisible.
That's
okay. 4 successes is great.
That's dex
now
stealth.
Go ahead and make me a strength brawl.
Strength brawl. There we go.
That was 4 for that stealth.
Mm-hmm. And 3 for the brawl check. As he walks by, how does Max grab him? Is it similar to how he's done everybody, just collar yank?
Yeah, just sort of like grab, yoink. No.
Yep. And so as he walks by and you watch him, you just reach out. The hand touches his shoulder. As soon as you touch him, you become visible. But before anybody notices, you have a tight grip on his shoulder and just yank him back. He gets pulled back. And before you have a chance to say anything, you have him in a grip around his neck so he can't talk. What would you like to do with him?
Max knows what he's been assigned to do. So he just sort of looks at him. He's still covered up. But he just goes,
Okay, nothing personal, buddy.
And breaks his neck. He's got lethal body, so he'll be going aggravated damage.
Oh, man. Oh, he's going to try and escape, but he's not going to have. So go ahead and make me another.
I'm going to use potence on this as well.
Jesus, dude. Oh, this poor bastard.
this
All right,
guy.
well, here's his
Guy's
roll.
so screwed.
That's it. Oh, he has one success. Can you beat a success?
Let's see.
Probably.
So we're going strength ball plus.
Strength brawl
Plus-
plus your potence, which is extra damage after you do damage.
Okay, doke. So this will be strength brawl.
Whew. And you will take a stain. So how many points in potence do you have?
I have 2 points in potence.
So you're going to do an additional 2 damage on top of that. And it's very swift. He tries to fight. He is trying to pull at you, but there's nothing a kind can do against a Nosferatu who's built like this. And with a swift motion, the struggle stops, a loud snap as the body twitches for a few moments and then goes limp in your arms.
All right, and I'll be throwing the body over my shoulder, obfuscating, getting back to the club, probably through the sewers is the easiest way. And once back at the club, the body will be drained completely and put into bags.
I love it. And on that, as we watch the last of the mess cleaned up and the camera makes its way back up to the main floor where the show is now under control, Tommy, I assume, has been let go.
The first thing Vera will do is walk back over to Duke and run a hand across his shoulders, which I don't know the last time they've actually touched. And she leans in and simply says, "Thank you."
Of course.
And then she strides over to Sean. And she breaks as much distance as she can and gets very, very close. And she smiles at you. And she says, "I'm very proud of you, Sean."
Thanks.
She removes her hat. She grabs your face between her hands. And she plants a kiss on you. And when she's done, she says, "I'm tired. I'm going to bed."
Max comes in and basically just on his way downstairs, just sort of nonchalantly over his shoulder says,
Yeah, a friend's been taken care of.
Thank you, Max.
And the coterie disperses for the evening, all into their individual rooms for the individual night's rest as the last of the businessmen come in and you have the lessers take care of the last of the sales. And as we pull out the front door and the doors of the Succubus Club close and the bright neon sign flickers off and the sun is beginning to crawl, in the alleyway across the street, we see a familiar set of cat ear headphones, a small muffled song, and as the camera approaches her face, a small grin. And we cut to black, and we'll pick up next week.
Oh, before you go, do Vera a little favor, would you? Break out that Masquerade Preach in your pocket and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Pod by Night or Stitch of Fate. Make sure to leave us a little 5-star rating and review, would you? And if you don't, well, I guess I'll just have to send Max after you.
Special thank you to Kimberly and Sean Casey for sponsoring this podcast. Stitch of Fate wouldn't be possible without your incredible kindness and support. You sure know how to rouse our blood.